You see, in Africa, they say it takes a village to raise a child, meaning that all of us, we need to take a part. The church has to take a part, the society, the communities, and even in neighborhood, when you see something undesirable, you shouldn't wait.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on Parliament Television. Today, the 27th day in the month of February 2025. To be on live commentary, my name is Posen Tindovi.
And of course, my name is Jomyunda Katama. We're joined by our two sign language interpreters, Chola Kaoma and Jason Manda.
Let's quickly look at business that was considered on the floor of the House yesterday, which was the 26th day in the month of February 2026. Business did begin by Madam Speaker making an announcement. In that announcement, Madam Speaker did inform the House that she had made changes to the composition of the following committees in accordance with the provisions of Standing Orders 176.3, Parliamentary Reforms and Modernization Committee, Honorable Likando Mufalali, MP, to replace Mr. Gregory Nkowani, MP.
Public Accounts Committee, Mr. Brian Kambita, MP, to replace Honorable Likando Mufalali, MP.
And the other committee where changes were made is a committee on local governance, housing and chiefs affairs, Mr. Henry Sikazo, MP, to replace Honorable Nelson Musonda, MP, and committee on energy, water development and tourism, Mr. Gregory Nkowani, MP, to replace Mr. Stanley K. Kakubo, MP, and the last committee, Joe.
The last committee was the Committee on Parastatal Bodies, Mr. Stanley Kakubo, MP, to replace Mr. Brian Kambita, MP.
There were the consideration of urgent matters without notice, and 3 were considered yesterday, and the following Understanding Order 142 were raised. The first one came from Mr. Kapianga, and this one was on the alleged ranking of Zambia by the World Bank as the 6th poorest country in the world, and this one was inadmissible. The other one also came from Mr. Kafuaya on the authenticity of data in the revised 2022 census, and this one was equally inadmissible. There was a consideration of a ministerial statement, Joe.
Yes, indeed. So the Minister of Energy made a statement on the status of the 1 million contributions per constituency towards a rural electrification project. The Minister updated the House on the progress made in the implementation of rural electrification through the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, and briefed the House on the challenges encountered and measures being taken to expedite rural electrification projects.
We did see quite a number of members of Parliament seeking follow-up questions, seeking clarity from the Minister of Energy. And after the consideration of that ministerial statement, the House did consider question for oral answer, numbers 225 to 228 and 230 to 231, Understanding Order 80.
Thereafter, we did see the Vice President move a motion that the House do now adjourn, but there was a matter which was brought by Mr. Mulenga Fovech, Member of Parliament, which was the subject for debate, titled Increase Beneficiaries under the Farmer Input Program. So we saw a number of members of Parliament who added their voice on this subject.
And just before the motion of adjournment, the House was supposed to consider question 229, Understanding Order 80, and the member being absent, the question lapsed, and that's basically the business that was considered on the floor of the House, and the House adjourned at 18:02 hours. Let's quickly look at business that is expected to be considered on the floor of the House today, which is Thursday, the 27th day in the month of February 2025, and we know that it's only hours remaining before the Republican President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, addresses Parliament on the application of national values and principles. So it's a big day tomorrow. We just hope and trust you follow through the address that the Republican President will make tomorrow. You can either follow us on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Joe, Let's look at business that is yet to be considered on the floor of the House today.
Yes, indeed, President. The outlook over today's order paper is as follows. We have 3 urgent questions, understanding order 82, and 3 ordinary questions, understanding order 80.
We expect one motion to be considered and a ministerial statement, and the motion will be moved by Her Honor the Vice President, and this one is suspend standing orders 26, 27, 55 and 85 of the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2024 be suspended to enable the House to sit from 09 hours until business has been concluded tomorrow, Friday, 28 February 2025, and also omit the Vice President's question time from the order paper.
We have one ministerial statement. The Minister of Mines and Minerals Development is expected to render a ministerial statement on the progress made in curbing illegal mining in the country.
Just before consideration of the House is expected to consider notice if for oral answer, and is a question nature and expected from Mpika lawmaker, and this is Mr. Francis Kapyanga. Is directing his question to the Minister of Finance and National Planning. The member wants to find out why the government has suspended the 15% export duty on precious stones and metals, what the anticipated revenue loss arising from the tax suspension is, and what measures has been compensate for loss of revenue.
We have Mr. Twambo Mtintaite, State Member of Parliament, to ask the Minister of Youth, Sports and Arts what urgent measures the government is taking to defuse following the invalidation of nominations of some candidates vying for various positions at the forthcoming FAS elective annual general meeting to avert a ban on football activities by the Federation of International Football Association, FIFA.
Anytime from now, we'll be able to see the Honorable Madam Speaker's procession making way to the chamber. That will signify the commencement of today's business. But before then, let's quickly look at what else is expected to be considered on the order paper for today. Question 234 will come from Mr. Kapyanga again, Mpika Member of Parliament, and this time around he's directing his question to the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. The member wants to find out whether the government is aware that a pontoon of the Kapamba Bridge along the Mpika-Kaluva-Chowela Road connecting Mukungule Chiefdom to the rest of Mpika district has been damaged following heavy rainfall, thereby making the crossing point to repair the bridge to facilitate the movement of motorbikes and pedestrians at the crossing point.
Question 235 is expected to come from Mr. Wesley Kolala, Chief Member of Parliament. Is expected to ask the Vice President some questions.
Yes, and that's understanding order 80, and these are ordinary questions, and we expect question 236 to come from Kanchivia Area Member of Parliament, Mr. Sunday Chanda, directing his question to the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. The member wants to find out how many bridges are marked for distribution in Cheweshe Mfwamba Ward in Kanchivia Parliamentary constituency. So there you have it. That's the Sergeant at Arms leading the Right Honourable Madam Speaker. That means business is about to begin. Keep watching Parliament Television.
Honourable Members of Parliament, Madam Speaker. Yeah.
And sing of Zambia, proud and free, land of work and joy in unity, victors in the struggle. eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, O one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise him, bless the great Zambia, Zambia, Zambia. Remain with stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, O one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. Order, honorable members. For now, I have two announcements. The first one, honorable members, I wish to inform the House that Northern Opticians and Eye Clinic has been granted permission to conduct a free comprehensive eye screening exercise for members of Parliament and staff. The exercise will include wellness checkups such as weight management, I repeat, blood pressure, and blood sugar screening. The aim is to promote eye health care through early detection and treatment of common ailments. This exercise will take place at the main reception area, Parliament main building, from Monday 3rd to Friday 7th March 2025 as follows. 1. Monday 3rd to Thursday 6th March, 9 hours to 16 hours. Friday 7th March, 09 hours to 13 hours. Interested honorable members are encouraged to participate in this important initiative. I thank you. The second announcement, honorable members, as you are aware, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, will address the House on the progress made in the application of the national values and principles tomorrow, Friday, 28th Friday, 2025, starting at 09 hours. In this regard, and in accordance with the Standing Order 21-2 of the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2024, all honorable members are reminded to observe the utmost dignity and decorum of the House during the address. I didn't expect that. In this regard, I wish to address the House on the following. 1. Electronic gadgets. Honorable members, in order to maintain the decorum and smooth functioning of our proceedings during the presidential address, as well as to take care of security concerns, all honorable members will not be allowed to bring any electronic gadgets such as cell phones and tablets into the chamber during tomorrow's sitting. Invited guests will equally not be allowed in the chamber with the electronic gadgets. This measure is necessary to avoid any potential disturbance and security breaches as the President delivers his address. 2, movement during the address. During the President's address, honorable members and indeed invited guests are requested to remain in their seats and avoid unnecessary movements when the President is delivering his address. In this regard, should a member need to leave the chamber during the address, the member may do so quietly using the nearest exit point to avoid causing disturbances. 3, punctuality. I wish to urge all honorable members to be punctual for tomorrow's sitting. Therefore, all honorable members are requested to be seated in the House by 09 hours. Members and invited guests will not be allowed to enter the chamber once the President begins to deliver his address. This measure is also taken in order to maintain the decorum of the House and to prevent any unnecessary disruptions. Your cooperation in this regard will be highly appreciated, and I thank you. The other announcement will be made later when the team arrives from the Commonwealth Conference. Honorable members, today we intend to adjourn by 16:40 so that we can leave the House, the chamber, for preparations for tomorrow. So our business will make sure that we wind up within that period. Notes of motion. Her Honor, the Vice President.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that Standing Orders 26, 27, and 87 of the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders 2024, be suspended to enable the House to sit from 09 hours until business has been concluded on Friday, 28 February 2025.
The question is that Standing Orders 26, 27, 55, and 87 of the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2024 be suspended to enable the House to sit from 09 hours until business has been concluded on Friday, 28 February 2025, and also to omit the Vice President's question time from the order paper. Any debate? Her Honor, the Vice President.
Madam Speaker, Article 86, Subarticle 1, read with the Article 9, Subarticle 2 of the Constitution of Zambia, as well as Standing Order number 19, Part 1 of the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2024, requires the President of the Republic of Zambia to attend Parliament and report to the House the progress made in the application of the national values and principles contained in Article 8 of the Constitution. In this regard, the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, is scheduled to attend and address the House tomorrow, Friday, 28 February 2028, starting at 09:45. Madam Speaker, Standing Order 26 provides for the suspension of business for 20 minutes at 10:40 hours on Fridays. Further, Standing Order number 27 provides for the House to adjourn at 13 hours on Fridays, while Standing Order 55 provides for the daily routine of business of the House. Furthermore, Standing Order number 87 provides for the Vice President's question time every Friday. Madam Speaker, it is necessary for the aforementioned standing orders suspended to enable the President to deliver his address uninterrupted. It is for this reason that I move this motion. Madam Speaker, this is a procedural motion, and as such, I urge all honorable members to support it. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you very much. Any further debate? I see none. May Her Honor the Vice President wind up debate.
Madam Speaker, I just want to thank all the honorable members for silently supporting this motion. Thank you very much. I beg to move.
I put the question. The question is that Standing Orders 27, 26, 27, 55, and 87 of the National Assembly of Zambia Standing Orders 2024 be suspended to enable the House to sit from 09 hours until business has been concluded on Friday, 28 February 2025, and also to omit the Vice President's question time from the order paper. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Urgent matters without notice. The Honorable Member for Nalolo.
Madam Speaker, I thank you most sincerely for according me to the opportunity to raise this matter of urgent public importance, matter without notice. Madam Speaker, this matter is urgent because it borders on national unity and also particularly on potential conflicts that may arise from the dissemination of such information. And this matter, Madam Speaker, is on the Minister of Information and Media. Madam Speaker, today's mass newspaper has carried a screaming headline, Zamstat under siege as HH fires 3 directors, demands the reduced number of members and deflate that of Tongas. Madam Speaker, that is the headline, screaming headline in the mass newspaper today. And I understand that this matter has in the recent past similarly come, but this matter today is peculiar in the sense that it has been carried out as a national headline and borders on a headline which suggests that the head of state is the grand promoter of tribalism. Madam Speaker, is the Honorable Minister of Media and Information in order? to be quiet when such a headline, a screaming headline, and we are aware that issues to do with tribal genocide have occurred in countries like Rwanda. Is it in order to be here seated without giving a proper position as to whether this screaming headline is the true position as it states? Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Nalolo. I remember that it was only yesterday when the Honorable Member for Lunte also raised the matter, and now it was carried in the Diggers newspaper, and I advised him that he should find another way of trying to bring the matter to the attention of the House so that it can be dealt with. That was the Diggers newspaper yesterday. Today, another screaming headline, now in the Post. In the Mast, sorry. Why did I say the Post? In the Mast. And from the headline, it appears that the President has just fired 3 directors. When I saw that screaming headline, also as an individual speaking for myself, I was alarmed. And I decided to read, especially in view of what the Honorable Member for Lunte had raised and how I guided him. And what I noticed is that the directors, so-called directors who were fired, they were fired in March 2024, almost 1 year ago. And as the Honorable Member for Nalolo has mentioned, such screaming headlines have a potential to put this country on fire because it's bordering on promoting tribalism, bringing Tongas and Bembas into conflict. As you know, all of us, we have tied somewhere. We have Bemba grandchildren, we have Tonga grandchildren. We are all intermarried. So these screaming headlines, I think there is need for responsible journalism. And when journalists report, they should be able to report matters which are factual and verifiable. So, Honorable Minister, this matter is coming again for the second time. Just within 2 days, it has been raised now by the Honorable Member for Nalolo. Do you have any comments on this matter? Honorable Minister of Information and Broadcasting.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity that I may render comments pertaining to this particular issue, which, as you've rightly indicated, was a subject on the floor of the House yesterday and now today in respect of the Diggers newspaper and now the Mast, but not limited to those 2 tabloids. This has been hot cake debate on various radio stations, particularly programs they are calling breakfast shows. And to that extent, my phone has also been inundated the whole morning with calls from various individuals, including journalists, asking that as government we clear the air on this matter, which the people of Zambia are averse to, as has already been evidenced before. Therefore, Madam Speaker, the comments I can make are as follows. That this particular statement carried in the Mast newspaper today is very unfortunate and unacceptable. And as Minister of Information and Media, who works with the media, I am alarmed by the level of professionalism or lack of the same when it comes to informing the nation, because the media, as a fourth estate in a democracy, must be able to inform the nation accurately. And lately, Madam Speaker, wherever I have the occasion to interact with the media, we as government have been calling for professional journalism. Clearly, from what is contained in this tabloid this morning, that particular aspect leaves a lot to be desired. And as leaders, these are the matters we must take very, very serious, because in totality, the summation of that screaming headline can be said to be rather vexatious, mischievous, obnoxious, fallacious, and inflammatory and alarming to the nation. And all of us as leaders must frown upon such headline with melancholy, because they work against that which we are gathered here to do, that is to bring the country together as one. Let me also take this opportunity, Madam Speaker, to indicate that as a result of these particular kind of statements, a lot of people are asking whether the media, particularly print media, is regulated in Zambia, and some have actually been saying IBA is watching print media issue such kind of divisive and hate speech-based statements. I would like to place on record, Madam Speaker, that in Zambia as we speak today, print media, that is to say newspapers, are not regulated. They are in the process of working out regulation by way of self-regulation or statutory regulation. There are two groups that are not yet agreed, but I can now say that out of these headlines like this, there is a motivation that perhaps statutory regulation could be the way to go to tame these alarmists. Madam Speaker, let me also indicate that as a result of some of these statements that are unfounded, but that have a tendency and capable of dividing a people or injuring the persona of individuals and or leaders who are innocent, well-meaning Zambians have been calling for stiffening of laws governing the media at large, particularly social media, and now this kind of media. Madam Speaker, not too long ago, the Barroso Royal Establishment called on the New Dawn administration to stiffen laws relating to hate speech on social media. That is not stifling freedom of speech. There is no one who enjoys freedom to unnecessarily attack others and wantonly go away with it. And so, we hear what the Barroso Royal Establishment has said. And just over this weekend, Madam Speaker, during the Nkwala ceremony, the Mpezeni publicly called on the President and government to enact laws to stiffen punishment of those who abuse others on social media. So this is not a call from us as government. We are just a responsive government. And only those who have cartels that abuse others on social media are the ones who want to continue to get away with it, because they thrive on and survive on propaganda and not truth. Madam Speaker, this also finally touches on the behavior of TV and radio station or program moderators. We have seen not too long ago a leader of a grouping calling itself Tonse Alliance appearing on Diamond TV and calling the President of the Republic of Zambia that he made a fool of himself by accepting endorsements from elected members of parliament of the opposition who they have decided to endorse him. Just like, Madam Speaker, not too long ago, there were endorsements from persons at Clapham Bus, persons on the street of no fixed political abode. They were endorsing a particular candidate that is the only candidate for Tonse Alliance. And no one made an issue with that, because that is in the political realm. So, Madam Speaker, as government would like to indicate that we are taking these matters seriously, because we must not allow the purported freedoms that are exercisable and enjoyable through social media and through unprincipled television stations and radio stations to take preeminence as if this is the order of the day. This is a government of laws which is led by a president ruling by the rule of law without fear or favor. And anybody who will continue to perform these acts of violation of the law are doing it at their own peril. They are on their own. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. This will definitely have an impact on our work today, because I have to allow the honorable members to ask points of clarification, and I've seen that there are some indications. So we will just treat it like his ministerial statement, points of clarification after ministerial statement. In terms of timing, we can put the correct time. Is it 30 minutes? Okay, so the honorable member from Pika.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity for me to ask the Honorable Minister of Information a question. Madam Speaker, this issue stems from a statement made by the Public Service Commission chairperson on the 2022 census report. The chairperson is reported to have differed with the Central Statistical Office. The reasons best known to himself. He has declared the report null and void. Madam Speaker, this is a senior government officer. And let me put it on record, Madam Speaker, that I am a member from Mpika.
Maybe if you could just ask points of clarification, because at that rate will not, other members also have indicated. So be precise with the point, ask your question, then you will make more progress.
Well, I indicate that what he has asked about has nothing to do with what I made as comments here. For us as government, we are responding to a baseless allegation that HH has fired 3 directors, and would like to disassociate President HH and his entire government from that malicious statement that he has fired 3 directors, as though the same were done even yesterday. That is the issue we are addressing. We are not addressing the issue of the difference that could have taken place between Dr. Beani and the Zamstat's chairperson, which is not a domain under my ministry. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The honorable member from Kana.
Madam Speaker, the Minister of Information will do us a favor by, acknowledging that the matter we are discussing does not fall in one sentence. This story we are discussing, this matter, Madam Speaker, we are discussing, is a story of the dispute on the results of the census of 2022, which dispute is reported to have led to the firing of the directors who, according to this story we are discussing today, these directors did not heed to the President's directive on what figures must be presented to the public. That is the story we're discussing. In which case, Madam Speaker, I want to ask the Minister of Misinformation, is it the position of government, Madam Speaker, that this government for the very first time...
Honorable Member Fonkana, you said the Minister of...
Minister of Information. It was a slip of the tongue. Is it the position of government that for the very first time, Central Statistics being a professionally run institution, that this UPND government today has decided to dispute the results of the census? Is it the position of the Minister? I thank you.
For purposes of guidance, I think what we are discussing is the screaming headline in the newspaper, the mass. That's what the urgent matter was being raised. It was not being raised on how the dispute arose. So let's stick to the screaming headline, honorable members. The Honorable Minister of Information.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Bino Mpundu, MP for Nkana, for raising a question to the Minister of Information for the Republic of Zambia. Madam Speaker, my colleague there, the MP for Nkana, has said what we are talking about is a dispute which has led to a purported firing. Now that we know that that purported firing actually does not exist, it means linking the dispute to the purported firing is void ab initio and therefore extricable. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Oh, the honorable members, if we continue like this, I will move to the next segment. For purposes of guidance, honorable members, let's stick to the urgent matter of a matter of public urgent importance without urgent matter without notice, as raised by the honorable member for Nalolo. Let's not go in the dispute because we cannot examine that dispute. We don't even have the evidence, even the capacity to do so. What the honorable member for Nalolo has brought is the screaming headline, which tends to promote tribalism in the country. So as we ask our questions, let's bear in that in mind, and let's not debate the issues surrounding the dispute between Zamstat and the chairperson of the Civil Servants Union, the Civil Service Commission, sorry. The honorable member for Kamfisa.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to ask the Minister of Information a follow-up question. Minister, unfortunately, the topic that we are discussing still has a connotation that is linked to the Zambia Statistical Agency, an agency, Madam Speaker, which was established through an Act of Parliament. So we have an Act of Parliament called the Zambia Statistics Act, which is of 2018, which guides the functions of Zamstats. My question to the Minister responsible for information. By now you have gathered the facts. By now, considering your work in government, you have already gathered the facts and you have all the information. Can you inform this country, Honorable Minister, is the information that was published by Zamstats, the figures showing the population of Zambia province by province, is that the official information, Honorable Minister? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Information.
Madam Speaker, whereas I may have information, just as a question is requesting, This is a house of rules and procedure. Next time, we are going to be answering any question at large because it's in public domain. You have directed me, Madam Speaker, to respond to the urgent matter relating to a screaming headline which is founded. Nothing more, nothing less. If my colleagues want more information, let them ask me to come with a ministerial statement or raise a question so that I have answers to which I can vouch for on behalf of government with the right mandate. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. And I had guided honorable members, as you ask, let's not open this issue because it's becoming now, it's not relevant to the matter that was raised by the honorable member for Nalolo. The honorable member for Lumezi. I'm sorry, honorable member from Mpika, I'm not taking points of order because of the time. We just go through this quickly and then we move to the next because we don't have enough time. Honorable member for Lumezi.
Madam Speaker, I must thank you most sincerely for permitting the Minister of Information to speak to this troubling subject that has been carried in our daily tabloids for the last 48 hours. Honorable Minister, in your comment, you seem to condemn the publication of the story, and I think what Zambians are grappling with is not the headline of that newspaper, it's the practice of it that is a problem. What is your government doing to condemn those that practice the ugly vice of tribalism, nepotism, and not punishing those that speak to it? What the newspaper is simply doing is condemning the ugly practice of the vice, so we cannot be penalizing those people that speak to it and leave those that are practicing it. Through you, Madam Speaker, what is your government doing to condemn those that are practicing this ugly vice? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
I don't know whether now it's speculation or what. Honorable Minister of Information, I don't know if you know who those people are who are practicing it, because the honorable member has not stated who is practicing.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I want to thank Honorable Mniezulu for that question, except he has not named who those are, so that I know whether I speak for them, because me, I speak for government. I don't speak for people who practice tribalism like some of these. I thank you.
Thank you very much. The honorable member for Luena.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, the screaming headline that the honorable member for Narolo brought to the attention of the House is, for all intents and purposes, a clear abuse and violation of the letter and the spirit of the freedom of the media that is enshrined in our Constitution. Honorable Minister, is it your wish to indicate to the nation that your government is not going to tolerate anybody that is seeking to undermine the very foundation and the spirit of our Republican Constitution and the unity that we have enjoyed as a nation through such reckless statements that seem to be aligning with some people who think that it's only through such vices that they can maintain political relevance in this nation? Thank you very much for the opportunity to ask this question.
The Honorable Minister of Information and Media.
Honorable Nakoka, thank you so much for that question, and that is in line with what we are talking about this afternoon. We are not talking about the entire transaction of that discourse that transpired. I don't know which arena it was. We are talking about the conduct of the media. So thank you for bringing us back home to that issue. And your question is, what is government position on those trying to undermine the very fabric and mosaic of our national unity? I think it is not just government. It is all of us as citizens who are well-meaning. No one wants to entertain anyone who wants to divide this nation the same way it has been proven before that those who want to use tribe to gain political relevance and advantage, the people of Zambia can see through and be able to reject that because we are stronger together than when we are divided. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chilubi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving people of Chilubi an opportunity to ask a follow-up question to the Minister. I do agree with the Minister that unity, patriotism, democracy and constitutionalism are part of the national values. And tomorrow, the President is coming to address those things. I also do agree with the Minister that yellow journalism and many other factors are not supposed to be encouraged. I do agree with the Minister that freedoms of the people are supposed to be protected. Madam Speaker, I want to ask the Minister, since what is at stake is we are talking about the behavior of the media, and which also includes social media space. Madam Speaker, we have irresponsible media, online media houses like Watchdog. We have responsible media online like Causeway. We have responsible individuals like Max Mulwe, who have been speaking the same language on the same, who is also associated with...
Order, Honorable Member. There is an indication. Order.
I thought you said no.
I said, please. What have I said? What have you made a ruling on, you who is sitting there as a presiding officer? I was saying, I'm not allowing any points of order, but Honorable Member for Chilubi, please do not mention names of people who are not here, who cannot be able to defend themselves. That's what the guidance that I was giving. Honorable Member for Chilubi, withdraw the name that you mentioned.
I withdraw the name Max Muro. I replace him by a UPND consultant. Madam Speaker.
Order, Honorable Member. If you are guided, follow the guidance.
Okay, I withdraw the name Max Muro, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
Proceed. But I still stick to Causeway and the Watchdog and many other irresponsible media. Madam Speaker, when we want to deal with an issue of frictional politics, as it may be, in a democracy like we have, there is need that when you go to justice, go with clean hands. The Minister has already cautioned the media. I want to ask the Minister whether he is extending the same caution to Causeway and Watchdog, who have been very responsible on dividing the nation, bringing down the dignity of individuals in the nation, and many other. I want to ask the Minister whether those online media vast is also targeting them.
The Honorable Minister of Information.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. And just by way of correction, it's not when you go to justice you must go with clean hands. It's when you go to equity.
It's okay, he's not a lawyer, so please. He's a parliamentarian, so you can...
He's a lawmaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. He's my colleague, Honorable Fube. We come a long way. Now, Honorable Fube, you have raised very important issues about Causeway, about Watchdog, about certain individuals who you may not name here, but who may be known in public domain. I want to join you in condemning those entities as being bad elements for the unity, for democracy, and for the development of this country. We want this country to continue to work together. And that is why, personally, over the weekend, I was overjoyed to see a lineup of elected members of parliament endorse HH. This is unprecedented. It shows that we are coming together as a people. This is what we need, rather than talking about division every day. Now, the point you are raising is so important that these particular entities and individuals who are proponents of division should learn from my brother, the MP from Pika. He once called us cockroaches, but he is now a proponent of peace and unity for the country. He has transformed. He is leading by example. This is the type of leadership we need in Zambia. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
At the rate that we are going, I think this is not taking us anywhere. Although I see some people still want to ask questions. Is it okay that we leave this subject and go to the next? Yes, the Honorable Member for Shiwangandu is anxiously, because it was him who was asking. The Honorable Member for Shiwangandu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it said that to deal with smoke, you must quench the fire. When there are speculations in the nation, you only cure the speculations by dealing with the source of the speculations. Madam Speaker, there was an incident which occurred at Murungush Conference Center, where there was an altercation between the chairperson.
Sorry, Honorable Member for Shiwangandu, I've guided. Let's not discuss that altercation, because we are talking about the screaming headline. Whatever caused that screaming headline, whether it was true or not true, that is not the subject for this debate or this interaction. It's the screaming headline and the impact, the likely impact that it can have on a nation called Zambia. That is what we should address ourselves to.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In your ruling, Madam Speaker, to the Honourable colleague who raised the point of an urgent matter without notice, you did refer to the issue which was raised yesterday. And as you pointed to the Minister to clarify, he confirmed that there have been a lot of discussions in different media houses, radios and newspapers, which are channeling different versions of a certain story, which has now culminated into the regrettable screaming headline. My question to the Honourable Minister is, who in your government is going to address the nation in order to cure these speculations, to state the correct position of government with regards to the Zamstat report and the dispute that it has raised, so that we can cure these speculations that are currently going on? Is it yourself as government spokesperson, or indeed who's, we know that Minister of Finance is responsible for the Zamstat, but we would like to know, Madam Speaker, from the government, who is going to address the nation in order to curtail these debates that are going on, because they have continued, and all of us have been subjected to listen to different versions of what transpired and what government position is, and that way you can avoid these screaming headlines. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member for Shiwangandu, and also for the attention of the Honourable Members in the House. There is a ministerial statement that is going to be delivered next week on Tuesday on the issue of Zamstat by the Honourable Minister of Finance. So those questions that you want to come and ask, please reserve them for that after the Honourable Minister of Finance and National Planning delivers a ministerial statement on that issue. So the next one, the Honourable Member from Sanzara.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, I would like to find out from you now that we are being wired or watched by these messages that are coming as screen headlines, what is your ministry or your government doing to curb this, your urgent measure, so that we don't entertain such vices in this country, which will divide this nation? What is it that you are planning to put in place for immediately so that we stop this screaming headline? Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Information and Media.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, dear colleague. I take that as a question, just provide me a platform for emphasis, because I've already spelled out what government intends to do, that we are going to listen to what the citizens of this country are saying. Already the BRI and Nkwala, they are calls for government to stiffen laws specifically to deal with this particular issue, because national unity and peace of this country is the foundation upon which national development can take off, and therefore, us as government, we will not allow any entity or individual to promulgate division amongst its people. We are a peace-centered government, so that we continue to hold on to this inheritance now going to 61 years. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Iteji.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for giving the opportunity to ask a follow-up question to the Minister. Minister, just to remind you, in the past, we saw a lot of media houses whose licenses were revoked, and in your now, Minister, what is obtaining right now? Is it an indication that your government is over-tolerant to democracy, or is it a sign that IBA has completely failed? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Information and Media.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Relating to the issue of IBA, I have already indicated that IBA does not regulate print media, so it should not be part of the mainstream consideration for purposes of this particular discussion this afternoon. However, there is nothing that stops this House from enacting a law. As you know, the IBA Act is under active consideration for review. There is nothing that stops this House, if it deems it fit, to include that IBA shall regulate print media as well, since they are, by and large, they are also broadcasters. Now, you mentioned the issue of closures of media houses in the past. I've also indicated here that currently the media are pushing for regulation. There are two groups, but presently, as government, we are not going to use arbitrary law. As you know, under the rule of law, you cannot use a law which you do not have within the precincts of your mandate. But this, I can remind you that in the past is what led to the Post newspaper to be closed using unorthodox means, because there was no law to directly get them closed. So they had to unleash ZRA to get the Post newspaper closed. We, as UPND, New Dawn administration, we are not going to use any underhand method like those that were used before. We are a tolerant government, and in a democracy, tolerance is a hallmark for the promotion of coexistence. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kasenengwa.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, to give the people of Kasenengwa an opportunity to ask a follow-up question. Through you, Madam Speaker, Honorable Minister, in your explanation to the matter that was raised by the Honorable Member for Nalolo, you did not just stick to what he raised, but you went all over talking about Tonse endorsements in the Eastern Province at the Nchwala and so on. My question is, you got so many concerns, phone calls, people expressing their displeasure over what has been happening in the print media, specifically the matter raised today. My question to you is, how much or how many phone calls have you gotten from people over the remarks that are made by another social media outlet called Courseway when they publish all those unpalatable issues in their publications? And also, how much phone calls or how many,
Honorable Member, one question.
how many phone calls did you get when people insulted the former president, specifically those from Northwestern Province? And because you are a very caring government, you are not selective, what measures have you taken towards the behavior of such people who divide this nation? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Information and Media.
Madam Speaker, although that question may qualify as being outside the ambit of what we are discussing, I think the Honorable Member of Parliament for Chiruvi asked a similar question to which I joined him and invited this whole House to condemn such entities and individuals who promulgate hate speech, divisions, and now you have also introduced a new aspect to our discourse. Those who insult elders, those like one of the leaders of small political parties, but is my friend, Hari Karaba, Nakachinda.
Let's not
I'm
mention...
talking about what you have raised. You have raised a very important
Minister, let's
issue.
not mention people who are not here.
I heed your advice, Madam Speaker. I withdraw Hari Karaba, I withdraw Nakachinda and replace them to young people who have no respect for elders. How can such young people be issuing derogatory, demeaning and insulting statements to the head of state, President Hakainde Hichilema? When those, Madam Speaker, when I say they are young people, they are even young to me here where you see me. I can't, the whole time I was in this house, there is no day I called President Lungu any derogatory statement, zero. But we understand, and I think I'll answer them at the appropriate stage. Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Kanchibia.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Honourable Minister, thank you for your remarks. Madam Speaker, my question will be very simple. This question of the screaming headline of the issue we are discussing could be a tip of an iceberg, Honourable Minister. What pragmatic steps is the government taking to unite the people of this country beyond tribe? Madam Speaker, thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Information.
Thank you, Honorable. And you have asked a very intelligent question, because that question is directly related to what we are talking about. Now, the pragmatic steps that this government is taking are many. First of all, it starts with the composition of the cabinet that leads this country. And every corner of this country feels well represented. Even those provinces where UPND did not yield a member of parliament in 2021, they are here well represented, because President Hakainde Hichilema recognizes that leadership of the country is a shared endeavor. and that no one or no group of people should think it is a preserve that them and them alone can provide leadership to the country. We must all sit around the decision table and decide how and where we are taking the country going forward in terms of development. So that is number one. President HH has scored. Number two, you have seen the appointments that he has made recently, even the reshuffles. They speak to national representation and not regional representation. Pragmatic. The president has accepted to work with some members of, in fact, all of you in the opposition. He has, for the last 2 or 3 times he has been addressing, he has said, let's work together. Now, as a pragmatic leader, he also knows that that is an opportunity for abuse. He has not abused it. He's just working together with yourselves to deliver development, unlike it was before, where a president who wants to work with those in the opposition has to cause unnecessary by-elections. Pragmatic. Number 4, this president, despite the insults being unleashed, he doesn't get emotional. He doesn't get moved, because he knows that where he sits there, he is sitting on a pedestal where there are so many people who are eyeing to get there. And those who know that they have zero chance to get there, they've resorted to insults. Pragmatic. In the interest of time, Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item, I have permitted the Honorable Minister of Mines and Minerals Development to present a ministerial statement. The Honorable Minister of Mines and Minerals Development. Oh, the Honorable Member who said Kabwala. You know that where I'm seated here, I can hear all your comments. Some comments are not welcome. Why do you call somebody Kawalala? Do you have evidence? It's not acceptable. The Honorable Minister of Mines may proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, some people, because they have not grown up properly, they think that insults will take them to leadership. But what gives leadership is integrity and seriousness. I wish to thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to render a ministerial statement to the House and the nation at large on the progress made on the eradication of illegal mining in the country. This statement comes at the backdrop of Mr. President's pronouncement that the UPND government under his leadership is fully committed to addressing the scourge. Mr. President also reiterated the need to fight illegal mining as it has posed needless loss of lives and has significantly affected national security. To this effect, the administration stands ready to eliminate the vice of illegal mining in Zambia. Madam Speaker, as you may be aware, in the recent past there has been significant increase in reports suggesting occurrences of minerals across various parts of the country. This has resulted in rampant illegal mining. This has come with its attendant challenges of environmental degradation and poor health and safety risks, as well as potential loss of government revenue through non-payment of taxes. The trend of illegal mining has unfortunately shown its face in places not known for mining activities, such as Chankomo area of Kapirimposhi district in Central Province, among others, where illegal mining activities have also been reported. The scourge, which is mostly concentrated at artisanal and small-scale mining level, has far-reaching environmental, economic and social impacts. As such, to combat this vice, and in line with Mr. President's directive, government has been making strides in addressing illegal mining activities. Allow me at this juncture to highlight some of the interventions, Madam Speaker, the Ministry is undertaking to eliminate illegal mining activities in the country. A, licensing. Madam Speaker, in line with the law and to ensure credibility in the licensing system, the Ministry has set standards for applications for mining rights and non-mining rights to prevent unscrupulous people from acquiring licenses. On the other hand, my Ministry has also set conditions under which licenses are expected to operate, failure to which their licenses risk being revoked. Therefore, awarding of mining and non-mining rights is subject to a thorough review process by the Ministry and various stakeholders. In addition, government is carrying out reforms aiming at enhancing efficiency, effectiveness, transparency, accountability, and integrity in the management and issuance of licenses through the use of information and communication technologies. For instance, application for mining licenses can now be made from anywhere through any electronic device, such as a smartphone. The online payment module to allow electronic payments is being developed. B, formalization of artisanal and small-scale mining. Madam Speaker, to curb illegal mining activities, the Ministry is implementing formalization program of the informal miners. This is being done through formation of mining cooperatives and capacity building prior to issuance of mining rights. The House may wish to know that from January 2023 to date, 952 artisanal mining rights have been granted across the country, and out of these licenses, 74 are for gold mining and 278 are in non-gold commodities such as manganese and copper. Madam Speaker, government recognizes the granting of mining rights, but the first step in the formalization of mining activities. Other steps include capacity building, facilitating access to markets, among others. In this regard, government is currently constructing 2 market centers in Mumbwa districts of Central Province and Rufunsa of Lusaka Province. The 2 market centers, which are expected to be completed within the second quarter of 2025, will provide a ready market for artisanal and small-scale miners involved in gold mining and trading activities. Let me reiterate that currently, marketing centers are confined to gold mining and trading. However, the approach will be extended to other non-gold commodities in due course. Madam Speaker, government has since appointed Zambia Gold Limited as the gold aggregator to buy gold from artisanal and small-scale miners and ensure competitive pricing. I wish to inform the House that Zambia Gold moved in the 2 sites in September and October 2024, respectively. Zambia Gold commenced buying of gold in Rufunsa in January 2025, while in Mumba the company started buying in February 2025. C, provision of mining technical services. Madam Speaker, to prevent illegal mining activities and enable artisanal and small-scale mining operations meet necessary safety standards, government, through a multi-sectoral approach, has scaled up capacity building activities targeted at improving capacity of the ASM sector. The activities include training in basic and sustainable mining practices, promotion of safe and environmentally friendly mining methods, among others. To enrich the current curriculum, the Ministry, working with various stakeholders, is in the process of finalizing the development of training manuals, which are tailored to artisanal and small-scale mine operations. The training manuals, Madam Speaker, are intended to mitigate the safety, health and environment concerns in the artisanal and small-scale mining operations. D, geological information. Madam Speaker, as you may be aware, lack of geological information has not only hindered the participation of local people in mining, but has also slowed down the growth of the artisanal and small-scale mining subsector. Lack of geological information has also contributed to perpetuating illegal mining activities by artisanal and small-scale mining operators. This is due to the fact that acquiring of geological information is costly and as such makes people to plow for minerals in very unconventional ways. The geological information, once available, will contribute to curbing speculative and unregulated illegal mining activities and unregulated illegal mining activities. In addition, the availability of geological information will also serve as a motivation to the local people to regularize their mining operations in line with our formalization program. Enforcement. Madam Speaker, my ministry recognizes that interagency collaboration remains critical in efficiently and effectively fighting illegal mining through the enforcement of the provisions of the law, particularly the Mines and Minerals Development Act No. 11 of 2015. In this regard, the ministry has strengthened its collaboration with law enforcement agencies in curbing illegal mining activities and has heightened inspections. Ongoing reforms. Madam Speaker, to accelerate the fight against illegal mining and prevent artisanal and small-scale mining subsector from perpetuating illegal mining activities, government through the ministry is carrying out policy, institutional and legal reforms. These include the ongoing process of repealing and replacing the Mines and Minerals Development Act No. 11 of 2015 to pave way for the enactment of the Geological and Minerals Development Legal Framework, aimed, among others, to create a department under the ministry to handle issues related to artisanal and small-scale mining subsector, and establishment of a fund to support the growth of artisanal and small-scale miners in the country. Other forms include establishment of the minerals regulation aimed at delegating the regulatory functions of the ministry while retaining policy-related matters. The Commission is expected to contribute to the eradication of illegal mining through enhanced regulation of the industry. Madam Speaker, as I present this ministerial statement, it is gratifying to note that the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, assented to the Minerals Regulation Commission Bill, which is now an Act of Parliament, awaiting issuance of a statutory instrument for the operationalization of the Act. Madam Speaker, I wish to stress that government is focused on ensuring that Zambians formally participate in the exploitation of minerals to ensure maximum benefit from their God-given resources. I therefore wish to reiterate the President's call for our traditional leaders and local authorities, and indeed the people of Zambia, to join forces with the government to eradicate illegal mining activities. This will not only promote development, but will eliminate the needless loss of lives. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much for the statement. Honorable members are now free to ask questions on points of clarification on the ministerial statement presented by the Honorable Minister of Mines and Minerals Development. The Honorable Member for Kalavo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, these mines we are talking about, the minerals we are talking about, have been the backbone of this country economically. Madam Speaker, for those who were there, it was the copper which took many students to school freely. We are able to speak English, some of us, because of the copper mines on the copper belt. Honorable Minister, statements as they are issued should be material, physical, tangible, practical. What raises worry in me is that we have minerals, small sections of the community are getting wealthier at the expense of the multitudes. This, Honorable Minister, really pains me. So the abolition, banning, finishing, phasing out of illegality in the mining should be taken seriously. Now, have you given yourself a period, a time frame, in which this illegality can come to a halt? Or you have just put it indefinitely? Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you. It's a hot issue. The Honorable Minister of Mines and Minerals Development.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Kalabo, and also thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Yes, illegalities do actually rob the country of its wealth. But for us to deal with illegalities, we have to have a framework in which we deal with illegalities. It has to be multi-sectoral, it has to be leaders, it has to be institutions of government. So as whether we have given ourselves a time frame in which to finish this, I would say that that is not very possible to say we can finish illegal mining in 1 month or in 1 year. Or what is important is to put systems in place that begins to eradicate illegal mining. What we did not have are systems to curb it. You have correctly alluded to the times on the copper belt. All of us are a product of those minerals on the copper belt. When illegal mining started, it needed to be nipped in the bud at the time when it started. But I think we had allowed it as a country to be entrenched to a point where almost every other area has illegal mining taking place. And that is why we've put in place now a regulator through the Minerals Commission Act, which will now help us begin to deal with this illegal mining. It doesn't mean we haven't been dealing with it. As alluded to in the statement, already security wings are in certain places trying to curb the very vice of illegal mining. So in terms of timing, I may not tell you the exact time when we'll say we have finished the illegal mining. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Solwezi East.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and Minister, thank you for your ministerial statement. Minister, what I've noticed, especially in the recent occurrence, like in Mushindamo, in the southern part in His Royal Highness Chief Mjiman's of Chiefdom, because of the gold rush, we notice the issue in terms of compromise on health and sanitation, and also the influx of foreigners. A lot of Tanzanians with gold detecting machines, and to the extent that they are exploiting our own locals who do not have such gadgets. What is it that you are doing to address the issue of the influx of these foreigners who are in hundreds and hundreds? We know that that can come with national security. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Mines and Minerals Development.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Solwezi East, and thank you, Madam Speaker. So, as I alluded to in my statement, this illegal mining will be fought in a multi-sectoral manner. We have a team of officers from Ministry of Mines, we have Ministry of Home Affairs, we have Ministry of Defense, we have Ministry of Green Economy, Ministry of Water. We are working together. So there is a particular reason, for example, why we have the Ministry of Home Affairs. One of which is for the Immigration Department to deal with, illegal immigrants who come, to support illegal activities of our miners. So really, the approach is multi-sectoral. we are, dealing with matters of mining, while the Ministry of Home Affairs is dealing with immigration issues. Yes, really, we have an influx of those people, and we are dealing with it slowly. I think that as we move in, even with issues of dangling a carrot, like putting up gold marketing centers and an aggregator, that will move our people away from the unscrupulous illegal immigrants, because they buy their materials for a song. But the gold marketing centers will be giving them very good price, but at the same time, they are formalized with licenses. So really, that is the approach that we are doing to make sure that, we do away with illegal immigrants. First, you force them out. The second is you move the minors away from the illegal immigrants. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Magoye.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, thank you very much for the provision of some artisanal mining licenses to small-scale miners like those in Mapatizia. But I just want to find out from you, Honorable Minister, from the time these colleagues got the licenses and they are yet to expire, they've never been authorized to move into the mines. So I just want to ask you, Honorable Minister, if you are going to provide an opportunity for them to start mining. Suffice to say that there are a few challenges that small-scale miners in Zambia or in Mapatizia are facing, which include capital access to information, limited access to other things like marketing. Honorable Minister, I want to find out if there are opportunities through your ministry that will help these small-scale miners if they can be able to access capital. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Mines and Minerals Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member for Magoye. I'm taken aback by the fact that we've given our youths licenses and they have not been given access to the mines. I think I will have to follow that up with our officials as to why licensed artisanal miners have not accessed their mines. I think that is a serious matter, which I'm going to follow up seriously. You remember 2 days ago, I was on the floor of the House trying to talk about the fact that we need to help these artisanal miners with equipment. Actually, it started with gold, and I know the areas that you're talking about are areas of mostly lithium. So I think that I will be able to interact with you and really find out why they have not accessed and probably how they can be helped to access some empowerment from the ministry. We don't have a huge pace yet, and that is why we have put in place the Geological and Minerals Development Bill, because therein sits the Directorate of Artisanal Miners and the Exploration Fund for small-scale and artisanal miners. So I think that it will be important that our miners also do approach us, but the issue that you've raised, I think it's a serious matter, and I'll get back to my officers and ask for an explanation as to why our miners are licensed and yet they can't access the mine. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. We can be joined by the Honorable Member from Kantanshi, who is joining us via Zoom. Honorable Member for Kantanshi. Honorable Member for Kantanshi. If he's not ready, then maybe we listen to Honorable Member for...
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Technology matters. Honorable Minister of Mines, thank you so much for your ministerial statement. I would like to draw my concern, Madam Speaker, to areas that the Member of Parliament for Kalabo had raised. Madam Speaker, in my constituency, Kantanshi, we have a black mountain, which has been a source of back and forth between government and Mupani and artisanal miners. So when I was listening to the minister, I was trying to find out how artisanal mines are going to draw confidence from his statement when the particular case I want to cite is very new. In January, an artisanal mine or group of artisanal mines were given a license on the 17th of January. On the 24th of February, that license was cancelled. And yet these people were preparing themselves to now start the mining. Now, considering all these issues, Honorable Minister, which you are fully aware of, that have been going on in this sector, what confidence are you giving the artisanal mines, including even what my colleague from Mapatiza was referring to as an example? This statement you have laid on my
Minerals development.
Much, Madam Speaker. That we are going right now. '52, they went into an agreement with an investor. They were given an artisanal license. The Black Mountain itself in Kitwe, cooperatives were given artisanal licenses. TD3 in Chambeshi and Kalulushi, artisanal licenses were given, and miners are working. It's just that it's rainy season now. Usually they decamp because it's an open cast operation. We have in Mumbwa artisanal licenses that we gave. I think we did it publicly. We gave in Mumbwa, and those licenses are working. We gave in Rufunsa, and those licenses are working. In Impika, we are heading there. So, Honorable Member for Kantanshi, yes, that is the confidence I'll give artisanals. However, there are incidences where procedure is not followed, like the Mufurila issue, where an artisanal license was issued on a Mopani tenement without consent from the owners. That was a mistake from officers, and people who did that were disciplined. Because as government, we do not tolerate licenses on top of another license. That is illegal. And that is why that thing was done away with. So, even in Chingola, when you go there, we are in the process of doing another formalization of our people on a tailings dam called TD3. So really, Madam Speaker, there are practical areas where practical things have been done. Even as we are talking right now in Northwestern Province, we are discussing areas where artisanal operations will start. And as the President of the Republic of Zambia did announce and guide, that we'll be talking to large mines to be able to offer what may seem like outgrower schemes to our artisanal miners so that they support them. So that is a formalization process that we are talking about. So really, if there is one failure on one point, it may not be that the whole country we are failing to do formalization. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Another honorable member via Zoom. Honorable member for Sinazongwe.
Thank you. The best way of trying to help these so-called illegal scale miners is whether there is a deliberate plan by the ministry to visit all the 9 provinces except Western Province where there is no mining activities. All the 9 provinces, so that at least there is direct engagement with these so-called illegal miners for them to appreciate the plans, the good plans that the government has. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Mines and Minerals Development.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Mapatizia, for that very, very important question.
Sinazongwe.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Sinazongwe. They are neighbors. They are neighbors. Honorable Member for Sinazongwe. Yes, the ministry has a plan. It's quite a laborious exercise because Zambia is big. And that's why we were pushing for the Minerals Commission to be in place, because the regulator will spread right across the country. Yes, we do have a program to visit. Like I said, so far we've visited Mumbwa, we've visited Rufunsa. It's quite a laborious exercise, like I said, and it requires both financial capacity to go out there and also human capacity in terms of the human resource to go out there. Zambia is quite vast. So the program is there to go and sensitize our, you heard in my statement that we are even preparing training manuals which will spread across the country for all the artisanal miners. Madam Speaker, I must emphasize that this is one of the subsectors we hope can absorb a lot of our youths in terms of job creation. So government is quite serious with this program. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Mapatizia, since she was mentioned.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Minister of Mines. It's because I've been in and out of his office this past year just to make sure that the people of Mapatizia are given artisanal licenses. But, Madam Speaker, the youths of Mapatizia have been given a lot of artisanal licenses, and thank you, Honorable Minister, but we have a small challenge. They are not mining because the areas they were given are lithium areas. Now the question is, they are asking, Honorable Member, when are we going to start mining this lithium? Because the artisanal licenses are expiring. Secondly, Honorable Minister, I don't know if you are aware that there are people who are mining illegally. But the question is, who are they selling to? Most of these license holders who are doing the so-called exploration mining in Mapatizia have turned into buyers. That's why there are people, illegal mines collapsing on people every day. They are busy buying, and our local people are going mining the mineral and giving to them. Have you checked, have you gone there to inspect who is doing exploration and who is doing the mining? Thank you, sir.
The Honorable Minister of Mines and Minerals Development.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Mapatizia. If you've been following the news, I'm sure you have been. Recently, the Zambia Army was somewhere around Mapatizia, and that is why I said that this matter of legal mining is multi-sectoral, and it involves not only the Ministry of Mines, but also law enforcement, and I said it in the statement. You realize that as they visited the areas, there were people that were even found doing illicit activities and were stopped. So really, we are very aware of those activities, and that's why the multi-sectoral approach is what is helping for us to curb, illicit activities. And like I said to the Honorable Member it's gone out. For Magoye, I said that we will follow up as to why licensed artisanal miners are not going on their mines. Because if they are licensed, then the mines are available. So we'll have to find out why that has happened, and I'll follow it through with my officers at the ministry. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kanyama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I don't promote illegalities. And being in an environment where laws are governing, the country. We just need to ensure that, these laws are protected and they are followed to the letter. However, Madam Speaker, if you look at people who are giving us this challenge of, illegal mining, these are our children, and some of them hail from Kanyama, and that's why I can stand here and speak for them. A number of them hail from Kanyama, and these are the children that are trying to make ends meet. Now, looking at the interventions that the minister has put in place, you realize that you spoke about licensing. Licensing coupled with a number of fees here and there, and just generally, there are conditions that they are subjected to that they cannot meet. So, to that effect, I would want to ask the minister, bearing in mind that these are our children, our boys who are trying to earn a living, to feed their families. What is it that the ministry is doing so that at least we can help those so that we don't throw them off what activities which they are done? Because at the end of the day, the burden will still come to the government to look after them. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Mines and Minerals Development.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member from Kanyama, for that important question. What I would advise, Madam Speaker, is that, as I said, this matter requires all of us to be involved. If we are aware of any of our people in our constituencies who may be involved in these activities, we can call them and advise and help them, even walk with them to the ministry, because one can only be arrested if they are found doing it. So advise them in our respective constituencies, walk with them into the ministry. Let's see how we can help to formalize them. In fact, as a ministry, we had announced an amnesty that anyone who is doing some mining activities anywhere where they are not licensed, they can walk to the ministry, we formalize them. President Hakainde Hichilema is very aware that these are Zambians who are trying to survive but must be formalized. That's why he has given marching orders that we need to formalize them and teach them safe mining. So places where we may not know, Honorable Member for Kanyama, please help us. If you have those within the community, bring them, we talk to them, we also show them. In fact, some of these, Madam Speaker, young boys that are involved in illegal mining, you would wonder, in fact, you'd be shocked at how knowledgeable they are. Some of them are trained geologists in the field. Some of them are trained surveyors in the field. So if we formalize them, teach them safe mining, as we are teaching them, they will be relating to the practical experience that they have on site. So really what is important is to harness them, bring them together, and so that we introduce them to this program that government has put in place. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chifubu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, there would be no illegal mining if there was no market for these illegal activities. And these illegal or black market, they have been the source of these illegal mines. So, what is your ministry doing to identify them and cable these mines and these markets and punish them heavily, also as a measure to contain the illegality in mining? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Mines and Minerals Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The first thing that we are doing to address that is the formalization program itself, because in that program lies marketing centers. The aggregator and marketing centers will be a buyer of choice, because, Madam Speaker, our people that are involved in these activities, if they find that they are formalized, licensed, and they are also selling their copper or gold at price, there is no way they are going to go buyers. That is point number one. Point number two on what we are doing. The regulator that has come in place, one of the things that they will be doing, Madam Speaker, are issues of traceability. Going forward, through the regulator, each mine will have to prove that whatever mineral they have or whatever products they have or they have processed will have been bought from a legally licensed mine. That is the other way to curb the black market. So really, everyone that will be processing copper must prove where they bought that copper from. The third thing is that government has gone through, especially on the copper belt, there are a lot of processing plants, which the ministry has gone through and checked. All those processing plants will now be checked to see whether whatever they are processing is legally bought. That will also help us to curb, the black market. So really, it's being a buyer of choice, but also regulating those that are processing the minerals. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Kafula-Futa.
Madam Speaker, I wish to thank you for giving the people of Kafula-Futa to ask the Minister a question. Madam Speaker, I view minerals as the source of our wealth as a nation. Us as Zambians, our wealth is actually in the minerals that we have. I note that by April 2024, we had 6,000 licenses issued, and ultimately, of the 6,000, only 7 mines were paying their tax. So when I'm dealing with this matter, I'm not just concerned about Zambians getting the licenses. I'm more concerned about Zambians getting licenses, make wealth out of it, which in turn they'll pay tax to the government so that our nation becomes wealthy. I wish to ask the Minister on the measures that the government has put in place to ensure that licenses are given to credible people. It doesn't matter at which level, but people that are credible in every sense. People that will not sell their licenses or fail to use the licenses, they will that may end up holding on a piece of land without stamina to work. What measures have you put to ensure that whoever gets that artisanal mining or whatever license you give them will end up utilizing it for themselves and for Zambia as a nation? I thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Mines and Minerals Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honourable Member, the license that anyone gets has rules, has its own requirements. It's the first protection. Except when people are applying for licenses, they will appear as though they are capable. You will not question. If, for example, you've said, present this paper, and somebody has presented 100% of the requirements, then as a ministry, of course, you are going to check. In fact, right now, Madam Speaker, the House may wish to know that now there will be no human interface. It's online. Today we were launching the online application for mining licenses, so it's going to be very transparent. So if you fulfill the requirement, then your license will have been admitted either as an artisanal miner or a small-scale miner or large-scale miner for that purpose. The license still, when you are given, it has got regulations, it has got rules, which if you do not fulfill, it will be taken away from you. What we have lacked is actually enforcement of what the license stipulates. And that is why this government has smartly brought in the regulator. Those will be some of the functions to make sure that licenses are followed through. Yes, the record could say we have 6,000 licenses, but are they working? Are they operating? You realize that I think last year we did a wholesome cancellation of licenses. I think we cancelled almost 3,000 to 4,000. And those that were appealing, we had now to check whether really they have done anything on their tenement or not. That was a process to try and clean up so that government is not misled to say we have so many mines operating and only so many are paying taxes. Because that could be in the record but nothing on the ground. And that's why we did that wholesome cancellation. We did an advert, thousands of them were cancelled, and we invited the license holders to come and prove why they are not working out their licenses. And matters were dealt with case by case. Some of them were reinstated, others and a lot of them were cancelled completely. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. I have another announcement to make. Honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence in the public gallery of honorable members of the Commonwealth Parliamentarians with Disabilities, CPWD, with accompanying staff from the following countries: Kenya, Namibia, Tanzania, South Africa, Gauteng and Mpumalanga provincial legislatures, and Eswatini. 4 of the honorable members are seated in the official box on my left due to inaccessibility of our galleries. That means we need to do something now. You see what has happened? The honorable members came to attend the 3rd CPWD conference which was being hosted by the CPA Zambia branch. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, I warmly welcome our distinguished guests in our midst. You are welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you. We go to the next item, questions for oral answer, understanding order 82. The honorable member from Pika. I see that he is not there. He moved to the next, the question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number, sorry, Madam Speaker. Question number 232, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. There were 3 questions. At A, why the government has suspended the 15% export duty on precious stones and metals. At B, what the anticipated revenue loss arising from the tax suspension is. And C, what measures are being taken to compensate for the loss of revenue. The response is as follows. A, in the 2025 budget, government proposed to introduce 15% export duty on gemstones and precious metals as one of the measures aimed at enhancing domestic resource mobilization. However, stakeholders appealed to the government to reconsider this decision, as Zambian gemstones and precious metals would pay an upfront of 15% export duty and 6% mineral royalty, while those from competing countries have no export duty, rendering the Zambian exports uncompetitive on the international markets. Madam Speaker, considering this, was resolved that it would be in the interest of the country to waive the duties. It is also important that such duties should be introduced when our processing capacity of these precious metals has been developed. Madam Speaker, it is important to note that this incentive will be strictly monitored to ensure that it achieves the desired objectives, including job creation for Zambians, increased collection of mineral royalties and company income tax. At B, Madam Speaker, although we expected a 250 million as revenue gain, we have noted after representations from the industry, this money would not have been raised as anticipated, as it was going to lead to a slowdown in mining activities, loss of jobs and investment in the sector. We are never even going to collect the mineral royalty that is currently collected at the point of export and the corporate income tax that is collected on the profits, because local producers would resort to reducing production, stockpiling, and lobbying the government. Considering the foregoing, Madam Speaker, no revenue will be lost from the suspension of the export tax. At C, we anticipate an increase in tax collections due to improved administrative efficiency as a result of tax administration initiatives and bulk
Any questions? The Honorable Member from Pika. Is not ready. The Honorable Member for Shwangandu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to pose a follow-up question. Honorable Minister, when you come here with budget estimates, you come with two sides of the budget: the revenue mobilization side of the budget and the expenditure side of the budget. And what follows your proposals are money bills. We enact laws here in order to allow you to collect projected revenue from your different sources. And in this case, you came with this proposal of 15% duty, which we processed to become an act of parliament, which is yet to be repealed. Honorable Minister, how would you say that there will be no effect on the performance of your budget when your expenditure side depends on the projected revenue, including this 15% which could have generated from the export of those gemstone minerals? How many other proposals do we expect you to come and reverse after we have enacted the laws for you to collect revenue? Madam Speaker, I would like the Honorable Minister to comfort us, because he came to us and we enabled him to implement these tax measures, assuming that they had made thorough consultations with the sectors such as the mining sector before they came up with the proposals. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Mines, Finance and National Planning, sir.
I thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I did indicate in my response that in the light of the investments that have been made to improve tax collection, an example of which is the smart invoice, that is going to cover for the suspension of the tax that I've indicated. On top of that, Madam Speaker, it is very clear now that the volume of copper production that we expect in 2025 will be larger than what was anticipated at the time when we crafted the budget. So, improved efficiency and enhanced production of copper, which has been part of the plan to ramp up to 3 million. Those are some of the elements that will cover up for what I've spoken. And of course, with that, as usual, we'll come back to the House and do a supplementary. And the supplementary is not always about what to spend more. Sometimes it is about declaring extra revenues that have been collected. So we anticipate, as usual, a supplementary to cover for those. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Chifubu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honourable Minister, please clear the perception out there that has been created by some of the political players that you are withdrawing this tax from the precious informing the people across the country that are there any other taxes that the gemstone industry is paying to government, because it is perceived that the gemstone industry are going tax-free. Please give us the position of what other taxes the gemstone industry are contributing to the national coffers, so that we clear some of the political commentators who have gone on the ground to give the wrong side of the story. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honourable. Indeed, you are absolutely right. The only tax that was suspended was the export tax. But we still have the mineral royalty tax. It's payable. We still have the income tax. It's payable. And then, of course, other taxes. Only the export tax was affected. I think it is also important to say that this tax obviously was not there on our books. The last time this tax was imposed was in 2019, during the reign of our colleagues, and shortly thereafter, 2020, they removed it for the same practical problems that we face now. So it's not the first time that this tax has been withdrawn. It was withdrawn before under the previous administration. And therefore, Madam Speaker, I want to state that, as the Honourable Member said, this is only one tax. And the export tax, the way it works is that you pay a tax as commodities leave the boundary. As the commodities leave the boundaries of the country, then the tax is charged. If you sell within the country, you don't levy the taxes. So obviously, this tax is the effect of discouraging exports. Because the moment you export, you must pay tax. But if you don't export, there's no tax. So obviously, to some extent, this is contradictory, because as a country, we want to export more and more and more. But we are telling our producers, the moment you export, we are going to tax you. So obviously, this creates problems. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member from Pika.
I'm grateful, Madam Speaker. Honourable Minister, thank you for your answers. Madam Speaker, this sector is dominated by foreigners. I mean, the precious minerals and metals sector is dominated by foreigners, which means the profits they make, they externalize. And these monies develop the countries where they come from. The only value we get is through taxes, such as the 15%. With the removal of that tax, it means as a country we won't benefit much from the minerals. I want to ask the Honorable Minister, was this decision done in the best interest of the Zambian people? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. The decision was made in the best interest of the Zambian people, because if you proceeded with this tax, whereby somebody tries to export, then you say, pay tax on the exports. On top of the taxes of the mineral royalties tax, on top of the income tax, remember, and I need to correct you there when you say we are not benefiting, we are benefiting because the mineral royalty tax, and I want also to tell you that the mineral royalty tax on these precious minerals are higher in Zambia compared to the countries that we are competing with. In Zambia, the mineral royalty tax is at 6%. The other countries producing these stones, the tax is at 2%. So already, we are the ones that are taxing higher than our competitors. On top of that, of course, when they make profit, tax is applicable. So, to prevent our miners from being uncompetitive, because we all sell in the same market. We all sell these emeralds in India. So when the minerals arrive in India, and remember, on the export market, the seller is the price taker. In other words, when you arrive in the market, the buyers will tell you, this is the going price. This is the going price. It's not you to say, this is the price. They will tell you, this is the going price. Like when you go to Soweto, there's a going price for tomato. You cannot create your own market price. So there being a going price, if the sellers from Zambia attempt to tell the Indians or the Saudis or whatever to say, okay, this is the going price, but in Zambia, our government wants 15% tax. So on top of the going price, pay another 15%, the Indians will laugh and say, oh, keep your emeralds, because we are going to buy from countries where there is no tax. And I want to correct you when you say this industry is dominated by foreigners. There are actually 500 Zambian miners who are in this industry. And they are the Zambian miners are the ones who complained bitterly there, Mulungushi Conference Center. They complained bitterly to say you are pushing out of business. So, Madam Speaker, it is wrong to think that this is an industry dominated by foreigners, because the Zambians are there, and the Zambians were adversely affected by the tax that we impose. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Member for Shuangan, we want to raise a point of order, but you remember we don't have much time. I don't know if that point of order is to counter what the Honorable Minister has said, but I will encourage you to engage with the Honorable Minister. We don't have time, Honorable Member. We are actually behind. So if you can bear with me, please, no points of order. Let's make progress to the next item. Next question, the Honorable Member for Iteshiteshi.
Madam Speaker, question number 233.
The Honorable Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I know I'll be racing against time. Honorable Member for Etestezi, Honorable Mutinta, is asking the Minister of Youth and Sport what urgent measures the government is taking to diffuse the impasse at the Football Association of Zambia following the invalidation of the nominations of some candidates vying for various positions during the forthcoming FAS elective annual general meeting to avert a ban of football activities by the Federation of International Football Association, FIFA. Madam Speaker, government through the National Sports Council of Zambia has been made aware of the recent developments in football, particularly the forthcoming Football Association of Zambia elective annual general meeting, AGM. Over the past few months, the National Sports Council of Zambia, which is a statutory body established under an Act of Parliament, Chapter 142 of the laws of Zambia, has received various inquiries regarding the AGM and elections roadmap announced by FAS on the 21st of December 2024. And in addition, there has been several statements issued in print, electronic, and social media regarding the subject, including the invalidation of nominations of some candidates vying for various positions. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Arts, as per procedure, deals with all matters from sport associations through the National Sports Council of Zambia. And as such, my ministry has been informed that following the inquiries and in line with its mandate, the National Sports Council of Zambia summoned FAS to a meeting on the 9th of January 2025. And the objective of the meeting was to request FAS to provide an update and justification regarding the roadmap, including the proposed date of the elective AGM of 29th March 2025 and not 28th February 2025. In line with the FAS constitution and following the meeting, FAS formally submitted to the National Sports Council of Zambia a detailed letter justifying the holding of the main elections on 29th March 2025, citing Articles 27.2, 33.3, and Article 79, which gives powers to the executive to set the date of the elections, and was unanimously approved by the Football Association of Zambia Executive Committee. In addition, Football Association of Zambia claimed having obtained an endorsement for the 29th March 2025 from FIFA as date for the main election, a correspondent that has not been availed to National Sports Council of Zambia. Subsequently, National Sports Council of Zambia wrote to the Attorney General on the 15th of January 2025, requesting for expert and legal interpretation of the FAS Constitution, particularly on two main contentious issues, which includes the tenure of the current Executive Committee and the President, and two, the inclusion of the Audit and the Compliance Committee and the Governance Committee under both the Standing Committee and the judicial bodies. Following the request, the Attorney General provided interpretation in a letter dated 14th February 2025, which addressed the following. On the tenure of office...
Order. As the time is 16:40, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a health break.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. You're still watching Parliamentary Television, the only station that is dedicated to bringing Parliament closer to you. Business has been suspended for 20 minutes health break, meaning business will only resume at 17 hours. And at the time business was being suspended, the House was considering question 233, which is an urgent question coming from Mr. Twambo Mutinta, Member of Parliament for Iteshte constituency, who did ask the Minister of Youth, Sports and Arts what urgent measures the government is taking to diffuse the impasse at the Football Association of Zambia FAS following the invalidation of nominations of some candidates vying for various positions at the forthcoming FAS elective annual general meeting to avert a ban of football activities by the Federation of International Football Association, FIFA, and the Minister of Youth and Sports and Arts was on the floor giving answers. So remember, business did resume at 14:30 hours, and the Madam Speaker did make two announcements. In the first announcement, Madam Speaker did inform the House that the Northern Optician and Eye Clinic has been granted permission to conduct a free comprehensive eye screening exercise for members of Parliament and staff. She stated that the exercise will include wellness checkups such as weight measurement, blood pressure and blood sugar screening. Madam Speaker further stated that the aim is to promote eye health care through early detection and treatment of common ailments. Madam Speaker did say that the exercise will take place at the main reception area, Parliament main buildings from Monday 3rd to Friday 7th March 2025 as follows. Monday 3rd to Thursday 6th March 09 hours to 16 hours, Friday 7th March 09 hours to 13 hours, and Madam Speaker did encourage interested honorable members to participate in this important initiative. In the second announcement, Madam Speaker did remind the House that the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, will address the House on the progress made in the application of the national values and principles tomorrow, Friday 28th February 2025, starting at 09 hours. Madam Speaker stated that in that regard and in accordance with the Standing Order 21-2 of the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders 2024, all honorable members are reminded to observe the utmost dignity and decorum of the House during the address. Madam Speaker did say that did address the House on the following. 1. Electronic gadgets. Madam Speaker did remind members that in order to maintain the decorum and smooth functioning of the proceedings during the presidential address, as well as to take care of security concerns, all honorable members will be not allowed to bring any electronic gadgets such as cell phones and tablets into the chamber during tomorrow's sitting. Madam Speaker further stated that invited guests will equally not be allowed in the chamber with electronic gadgets. She did add that this measure is necessary to avoid any potential disturbances and security as the President delivers his address tomorrow. Movement during the address. Madam Speaker did say that during the President's address, honorable members are indeed invited as are requested to remain in their seats and avoid unnecessary movements when the President is delivering his address. In this regard, Madam Speaker did say that should a member need to leave the chamber during the address, the member may do so quietly using the nearest exit point to avoid causing disturbances. Punctuality. Madam Speaker did urge all honorable members to be punctual for tomorrow's sitting. She did therefore say all honorable members are requested to be seated in the House by 09 hours. Madam Speaker further stated that members and invited guests will not be allowed to enter the chamber once the President begins to deliver his address. This measure is also taken in order to maintain the decorum over the House and to prevent any unnecessary disruptions. So those were the two announcements Madam Speaker made at 14:30 hours. Right now we take a break. Remember, business resumes at 17 hours. Stay glued right here on Parliament Television, the only station that is dedicated to bringing Parliament closer to you. Good afternoon.
Drama. No one marking it. Stream all 380 matches for just 90 kwacha on Showmax Premier League. Visit showmax.com to get started.
Get into the football action.
And he's got it in. He took his time. So, McTominay!
Enjoy the fun cartoons.
Stop! You don't know what you're doing. Yes, I do. I'm frying up some beef.
The jaw-dropping drama.
Oh my God, the grasshopper is in again.
Hey, hold.
The time is ticking. I want my sheets.
Action movies. From sun up to sun with GoTV. Reconnect or stay connected to watch all your favorite TV moments anytime, anywhere on GoTV stream. GoTV, love it.
National values and principles are fundamental in shaping the identity and the direction of our country, providing a moral compass for our actions and guiding the development and implementation of government policies. Article 9.2 of the Constitution of Zambia requires the President to report to Parliament the progress made in the application of the national values and principles. On 28th February 2025, President Hakainde Hichilema is scheduled to address the nation on the progress made in the application of our national values and principles. The address usually touches on pressing social challenges such as corruption, alcohol abuse, early marriages, and teenage pregnancies. One organization that is passionate about the societal issues is Families and Nations Fund. It is a female-led organization which views the family unit as an effective agent of attitude and behavior change, integrity, love, care, and national development. Ms. Judith Miller is founder and executive director of Families and Nations Fund. She now shares her expectations regarding the President's address on the application of our national values and principles.
Families and Nations, our expectations are quite a lot. We are now in a time where we are seeing so many diversity issues happening, focusing on the family. And as you know, the family is the first school. It is the family which is the foundation of every nation. And Zambia is actually thriving on the one Zambia, one nation. It's one big family. So as Families and Nations, we are expecting, number one, to hear a lot more concerning unity in the country. Comprehensive unity. We want to see families united. If families are united, we believe also that all the other institutions will also embrace unity. We are key in advocating for children on the street. We are still seeing them. And we are looking at all these things, and as Families and Nations, we want to see the government being part and leading us all as civil society, those working on the ground. How are we going to deal with these issues? We see number 3 is the issue of substance and alcohol abuse. It has taken precedence. We have seen so many young people, they are being destroyed, their lives being destroyed. We have seen an issue on gender-based violence, all resulting from the issues of abuse of substances, abuse of alcohol. I think another thing that we are expectant to hear from the President is the education system must embrace effective mentorship, character education, so that our young people are being molded effectively into the citizens of tomorrow. Needless to say, they are the leaders of tomorrow. So we know that mentorship has got a great impact on young people. And so with that one, we are expectant that the Zambia National Service announcement shall be actualized. We are believing that the President has shown us goodwill, and I want to state that His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema has, since he became President, shown a great strength on the family. He has spoken and indicated that he believes that the family is the bedrock of guidance to young people. It is the bedrock of strength and unity at family level, and that it is at the family unit that things can change. As Families and Nations, we say that the family is the agent of behavior change. So we are believing with him in that, and so basically these are our expectations. The economy cannot change if the family has not moved a step ahead to embrace economic platforms, economic transformations, whatever the government is leading in terms of policy. The family is key.
Ms. Miller also touched on the influence of social media on families and urges stakeholders like the church to take a leading role in sensitizing families, especially couples, on the usage of social media.
We have a challenge as a country, because the way social media has been embraced, especially among our young people, it has actually brought more harm in a way. And yet we see that it is these young people that have a lot to learn. And we are now in a global world, so there's a lot to learn from everywhere else in the world. And social media facilitates those opportunities. But needless to say, again, I'll go back to the family institution. As parents, I think we need positive parenting. We need intensive presence in the lives of our children, because it is the young people who are highly affected by social media platforms, the internet. Of course, connectivity has been a challenge, but we cannot remain in the olden time where, issues of the internet are prominent. We have to move with the rest of the world. But I think the issue is, how are we as a country, how are we going to move positively so that we benefit as a country and we develop? Because if we are all the time being hacked, being scammed, our young people are being exposed to pornography, we are not developing in the positive manner. So development must be positive. Development must be, how are we going to benefit as a country? How are our young people going to develop? Are they going to develop immoral practices because the internet is amongst us? What we are saying, let us use it positively.
The Family and Nations Executive Director is optimistic that Zambians will uphold these values and principles.
We need to see model families. We need to see our leaders having good families. We need to see teachers in the school teaching our children, but themselves having a good family, because children learn by what they see, and what they see is what impacts them more than what they hear.
Mr. Asaf Piri is the coordinator for the Families and Nations. He expects the president to talk about policies which are aimed at empowering the boy child, because much emphasis has been put on a girl child.